And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Sports, where we have the cup, the series, the trophy, and you're listening to the podcast. It's our final week for taking a victory lap and remembering the wonderful sports memories of this past season, just as the NHL and Major League Baseball are really heading into full swing coming up here. And before you know it, football will be right back in our living rooms and our hearts. But with me this week on this trip down memory lane are a cast of scallywags. Let me introduce the crew. Chris, what is up, my friend?
What's going on, man? Ready to talk some sports, some Tampa sports, and enjoying the nice weather outside today, and just another good day in Tampa Bay, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mikey, talk to me. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm excited, man. I've been reflecting on the hell of a 2020 season that our Tampa Bay Buccaneers had, trying to think back at all the flashbacks and awesome moments. So I'm looking forward to going through some of those highlights of the season and chatting with you guys, man. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely, sir. And last but not least, Musab, what is up, my friend?
It's up, man. I'm feeling great. It's another great week here, and I'm really excited to be taking one last victory lap with the boys and with all of our listeners. So that's really about it, and I'm looking forward to these upcoming season for the Rays. Lightning's been good, and oh man, my mind's already on the free agent stuff and all that draft mumbo jumbo for the Bucs. So I'm still thinking all about RBLR all the time.
Absolutely, man. There's no shortage of interesting things that we'll get into about kind of what's going on right now and what's happening in the future for all of our sports teams. But once again, an unprecedented time in Tampa Bay sports history where so many championships and so much winning and so much success in a very compressed amount of time. So it is good to kind of take another step to relive those memories, because before you know it, we're going to be talking about position battles and draft picks and what have you done for me lately. So I don't want it to be lost on anyone's mind how special of a time we are living in right now, and how special it's been to fill our trophy case, right? And the probably the one that I know Mikey and Musab are most excited about is that Lombardi trophy sitting in that trophy case. So let's start with the Bucs' top moments. In no particular order other than what they happened as they happened during the playoffs. Let's get into some of the best memories that we listed. We all kind of got together in our little group chat and talked about the best memories that we had. So the first memory we'll bring up is that wonderful Saints game, and that was the probably the unlikely Drew Brees finale. I know he's saying he might come back for another year, but no wonder you do not want the taste in your mouth after the interception party that happened from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mikey, I'll kick it to you first, man. What was your best memory about that interception party against the Saints?
Man, well, I have to start off with my man Devin White. Unbelievable season he had. He missed the first game of the playoffs against Washington, being on the COVID list. Came back against the Saints and absolutely dominated. And with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the game was 23-20 Bucks. Drew Brees was trying to pull off one of the Drew Brees type drives that everyone knows Drew Brees can do, and try to toss a pass to Kamara, and my man Devin White picked it off, putting an exclamation point on his season and on our rivalry with the Saints. Not just picked it off, he ran it back maybe 30, 40 yards, punched the offensive player in the face, said, "Get out my way." I mean, his aggression, man, his energy, it was just amazing to see. And to me, that was one of the biggest plays of the postseason. Definitely a momentum shifter in our rivalry with the Saints, and it was an awesome play, man. It's by far one of my favorites.
Yeah, Mikey. So how often were you expecting that Devin White to come up with a big interception like that against like a Drew Brees?
I mean, Devin White throughout the season, I think, he had some coverage issues, and I know that against the run, he's unstoppable. He really showed his talent on the blitzing side of things. And I think the later part of the season, he really started to come together in the coverage, in coverage against receivers and tight ends. And I was expecting big plays from Devin White all playoff, the entire playoffs and all game long. And that pick right there, man, was just, it came at the right time. It gives me flashbacks of Derek Brooks when he would, he'd be picking people off and running back for pick sixes. It was good to see.
Yeah, now Musab, he wasn't Devin White. It wasn't the only one that got in here. Tell me about everyone else that chipped in for this.
Yeah, the other guys who chipped in were Mr. Sean Murphy Bunting and Mike Edwards. And I just think that, this was, as those three guys are the ones who actually got the interceptions, this was a complete team effort. Especially after the second time we played them, it was really rough, and I'm sure all these guys were really, really, really frustrated about that loss. So, they came into this game, and I mean, the whole defensive side of the Bucks did amazing, containing, the tight end, the running backs, wide receivers. I mean, yes, the Saints did get, their chances, and they had some good guys. Traquan Smith did pretty well, but hey, check this out though. But we contained Michael Thomas. The guy had 0 receptions for, he didn't even get a chance at all. He got 4 targets, but he was completely covered. And it's things like that. It's things like that when, our defense is really stepping it up. Our secondaries are keeping all these guys covered. Where a guy like Drew Brees is kind of like, well, oh snap, we're running low on time. We really got to do something. I think I can make some magic happen, but it's gonna be hard. And I just think that that kind of that mental pressure. It was a lot of mental pressure going on for Brees. Because he's thinking, this is completely not the team that we played the second time. Maybe the first time, but that was a little different. That was the first game. But the second time, I mean, this is like the tables have completely turned. The Bucks are like a whole different beast. And I gotta go with Mikey. My favorite, one of my favorite parts of that game was definitely Devin White's interception, because that was basically, like he says, putting a nail in the coffin. But I'm gonna say it's basically kind of giving a nice big old middle finger to Breeze and the rest of those guys, saying, haha, like you thought you were gonna play with us like that, but it's the tables are turned. It's our turn now, and we are running away straight to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, man. Now, before they got to the Super Bowl, they did have to run through the Green Bay Packers, a team that they had played earlier in the year, but there was one particular play that we'll start with the Packers game, and that is that Scottie Miller amazing halftime bomb, right before halftime. They get a punch in and that momentum swing. Mikey, what stood out to you about that deep bomb to Scottie Miller?
I mean, did anyone think that Scottie Miller was going to play this well this season?
Woo. Yeah,
Unbelievable. I mean, after his rookie season, I was a little down and disappointed. And this season, man, Scooter's Miller time, just he came to play. And this Green Bay touchdown to end the first half was a carbon copy of the touchdown that we had against the Raiders. Just a beautiful deep pass to the corner of the end zone, just right in his bucket. And I mean, it was an epic play. I mean, one of my favorite plays in Buccaneer history, for us to end the half in such an important game with the bomb like that to Scottie Miller in the end zone, man. I mean, that was top 5 Buccaneer plays in the playoffs for sure.
Now, Mikey, did you see something in the game plan with how they ran this play?
Something in the game plan on how they ran this play?
You had noted that this is almost the exact same play that they had run earlier in the season for success as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think players underestimate Scottie Miller's speed. And I think that corner sat on it a little bit too long. I know if we had the game tape in front of us, they kind of explained how it worked. He was a little bit, Scottie Miller was bunched up close to, I think the tight end or the tackle, and took like a wide outside route. Um, and he just ran by his guy, man, and went straight to the point where he needed to be, and Brady put it on the money.
Yeah, Musab, Mikey did bring up a good point about how unexpected this Scottie Miller performance has been all season. And there was a little bit of a time where he was kind of, I know you and I had been talking earlier in the season about he kind of fits that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman mold. And it came up big in the playoffs. Talk to me about this particular play against the Packers.
It absolutely did. And, what I want to say is, and I got to agree with Mikey, is the first thing I want to say is the way I think the game plan was for that throw to happen was it was kind of just like that last resort, but I think it was kind of more like, hey, well, one of these guys ought to be open, Evans, Godwin, or Scottie Miller. But I think they had an idea that, hey, we're going to be looking for Scottie, and I say that because as Mikey said, people, a lot of these guys, they underestimate him. The way I see it, he was slept on when it came to that that attempt. If I'm the Saints and or not the Saints, if I'm the Packers and I was on the other end, and if it was our Bucks D, I'd be praying. All right, well, I'm hoping and I'm praying someone's covering Devontae Adams. He's stuck to him like glue or something. And that's kind of the vibe I got from the Saints. They were looking straight at Evans and Godwin, thinking, all right, well, these guys are gonna try to make something happen. And hey, they call him Scooter for a reason. They underestimated him, his speed, and as soon as he had his chance, he took off, and he got the catch. And I gotta say though, the reason why I think it was such an iconic moment was because right before that attempt, Brady almost threw like a pick. It was pretty darn close. It was supposed to go to Evans, but it was real close. It was kind of scary, and I'm sure kind of gave a little jump scare to the whole Bucks, especially the offense, and even Brady. And Brady's like, oh snap, oh man, these guys aren't playing around. Well, yikes, we got one more attempt. They were thinking about punting it, and then obviously, like a few seconds later, they were just like, you know what? There was some calling, left which Arians and Brady kind of just all, triangulated and decided, we got to go for this, because it was just such a special moment. And the thing is also, it's the end of it's about to be the end of the first half. So for that reason, I'm really happy. And it was kind of like a little like a last second little audible. They're like, you know what, psych, we're not going for that punt. We're going for this. And I just think that because of that, it just really, really pumped up the whole team. And it kind of shocked the Packers. Like, oh snap, well, these guys just put a kind of like a nice little statement right before the end of the first half that, hey, we're firing on all cylinders. We are not here to play around. We know you're good, but we're better.
Yeah, another thing that shocked the Packers was the Mack truck that is Jordan Whitehead, who just laid down the hammer. Mikey, you got to talk to me. You got to talk to me about this Whitehead hit.
Our modern day John Lynch right there, man. Ooh, that boy is bad. He's a bad man. I hope he comes back from surgery good. Let's see. We're the third quarter. We're up 21-10. It was third down. We got a receiver going across the middle, and looks like he has an opportunity to get to the first down. And my man Jordan Whitehead comes like a heat-seeking missile and just pops that ball out, man. And who was there to pick it up? Mr. Devin White.
Yeah, your boy. Yeah,
my boy Devin White. And that kid Whitehead, man, he's been playing good all season long. He's been lighting dudes up all season long. He picked it up in the playoffs. I think he had another forced fumble earlier in that game. If I'm not mistaken, he had two forced fumbles. You guys remember? Pretty sure he had, I'm pretty
I'd have
sure
to
he
look
had
it up now.
another one.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude was on fire, man. And then what? A few plays after that, he laid somebody else out, ended up messing up his shoulder. That kid is serious, man. I'm glad he's our safety. The Buccaneers for a long time had trouble finding a consistent safety. I mean, we had Conti for a while. You know, Justin Evans, you couldn't stay healthy. And finally we got Whitehead and Winfield back there dominating. I mean that hit in particular was a beautiful one, it came at a good time in the third quarter. But I'm just proud of Whitehead all season long, man, just lighting dudes up. He really sticks out. Throughout the season while I was looking at games, he always popped up. And he showed it again in this game, and it was a good one.
Yeah, Musab, to dig a little deeper here, you're looking at you're up 11 points, which against the Packers is not a safe lead. But this hit just out of the blue, just dropping the hammer, and Devin White being able to pick this up. Let's dig a little deeper. Tell me your thoughts about this play.
Well, I'm really glad Mikey brought those forced fumbles up, because now I do want to recall Whitehead. He was going after Jones, and he first started that when it was near the end of the second quarter. Jones gets the ball, he's running down, try to get that first down, and while he does get that first down, Whitehead comes straight at him, like a bull, and Jones is like a matador, and he comes straight at him, just rams him. And as soon as he does that, ball goes out loose. Unfortunately, the tight end of the Green Bay Packers, he recovers it. Tunyon, he recovered it, but that was like, oh snap, like that was close, because you can even see
Momentum.
exactly. You could even see it from Aaron Jones. He was like, oh snap, like I don't know, I think he was about to celebrate the first down, but as soon as he got knocked down, he was like, oh snap. I hope one of my teammates recovered that. And then yes, fresh into the second half, Whitehead again goes straight at Jones, this time knocking it out. And what I want to point out and kind of digging a little deeper with that is all those guys, and what I love about the Bucks D is all those guys, they had Whitehead's back. Because here's what happened. Here's a Jones gets the ball, and here comes Whitehead coming straight at him. Boom, rams him. And as soon as that happened, ball goes loose. And you see Devin White scoop it up. But as soon as you see Devin White scoop it up, you see at least 6 of his teammates, basically kind of all around him. Like, they're like Secret Service guards. And taking him straight down. And, that was just something that I think I really liked. That Whitehead basically kind of just ignited this basically herd of our defensemen just to go run down the field with Devin White, and that's exactly how we got that touchdown later on. But that was, that fumble recovery was huge on Whitehead and just the rest of those guys. Just the way, if you watch it again over and over again, I've seen it a few times. As soon as he scoops the ball up, it's like, oh snap, we gotta protect Devin White as if this guy is Tom Brady. It's
That's
exact.
That's a great point, man. That's a great point that you brought up, man. If you look back at that highlight, I mean, you can see that they're playing as a unit. Everyone's on the same page. Devin White Whitehead did his job, and Devin White scooped it up, man. And like you said, he had an entourage of white jerseys around him, escorting him to the opposite side of the field, man. And that just goes to prove that the team was playing together, and that defense was a unit. So a great point, man. Thanks for bringing that up too. Another point on Whitehead, man. Everyone still in here? Yeah. Okay. My bad. I thought I heard another
No,
point
you're
on
good.
Whitehead, man. Those are textbook tackles. Those tackles that he's doing is just that's by the book, man. I mean, shoulder in, head on the ball, it's just beautiful. Anyone who appreciates good football, good tackling, really appreciate those tackles from Jordan Whitehead.
Yeah, speaking of tackles, Musab, tell me about another big moment in that Packers game. And it's kind of like overall, that have to be the outpouring of pressure that the front four is generating, and they end up with 5 sacks against Aaron Rodgers. That's another big moment. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Well, absolutely. The first thing I want to say is those 5 sacks happened because if you watch those highlights again, you see it as time goes on throughout the game. Rodgers just gets more and more scared. First of all, he's scared on one end because our Bucks are kind of, they're taking off, especially in that first half. Just the beautiful runs and catches. My favorite part, a little side note, my favorite part was definitely that playoff Lenny run. Going down those spin moves. Something like that. When you see something like that happen, and then you're thinking, oh man, these guys are taking off. Oh, and would you look at that? Their quarterback is Tom Brady. You definitely ought to be scared. And it just happened all throughout the game. Rodgers would be trying to, he would throw a pass or two, and Levante David would just smack it right out, and he wouldn't just kind of block it. I mean, he would smack it like it's a little fly in the air. And then same thing with Sean Murphy Bunting's interception that kind of just pressured them overall. And then here comes the dynamic little duo. We got Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq, aka Sack Barrett, totaling with the 5 sacks. All throughout the game, and that's what I really liked. It was they kept on coming at him, and what I also really want to highlight was, as beautiful as the sacks were, it was just that the defense was just super aggressive. And if we're kind of looking at numbers, we had about 8 to 9. We had 8 QB hits versus just their like 4 QB hits. So overall, I mean, we were just way more dominant. And if you see it, and one thing I really want to highlight for all those listeners who might want to look back at the game, one thing I really wanted to say was 2 minutes left in the game. Rodgers, he's looking, they're really near the end zone. All our guys are coming at him from all ways, left, right, center. And a lot of our linemen were really close to sacking him, and he kind of gets away a little bit, and then. Instead of running, he kind of just throws a bullet straight to Davante Adams. Now, personally, when I look at that, and when I was watching at first, I was really scared because I was thinking, oh snap, does Rodgers have a little bit of that kind of speed to take it to the end zone himself? Personally, I thought he definitely would have been at least close. Now, and that's what I really wanted to highlight was he was really scared. I think he could have taken one for the team. He could have been really close at least, or if not gotten a touchdown. But I think he just got really scared. I think he was like, oh snap, first of all, these guys are about to sack me, and while I'm running away, I'm pretty darn sure there's one guy right behind me who's about to sack me. So when you're thinking with that mentality, you're like, oh snap, where are my star guys? Where's Devontae, or where's Lazard? And looking for them, and with all that pressure going on within a few seconds happening, you can't really make anything happen. So for that reason, he went straight for the bullet, and it got easily blocked by our secondaries, and that was basically it. That was the last best chance they had, and because Aaron Rodgers was frightened by our defense, especially our linemen, they lost.
Yeah, I mean, a huge game, in what a lot of people think that the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship are really the best, hardest games to win of the entire season because, everyone's fighting so hard to get to that championship, to get to that Super Bowl and have that opportunity for immortality, really. Now, when they got to the Super Bowl, I got 2 moments that we brought up, and so the first one I wanted to go to you first, Mikey, and talk about the party man, the party guy, Rob Gronkowski, who came down to Tampa with his boy TB12, and in this Super Bowl where all of these free agents that Tom Brady had a very specific hand in bringing in, Rob Gronkowski catches a Super Bowl touchdown to extend that lead and that record that him and TB12 have. So, Mikey, talk to me about that Rob Gronkowski Super Bowl touchdown.
Yeah, man. Well, he scored not 1 but 2 touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
Rob Gronkowski, he came to play, And throughout the season, there was a lot of criticism that he wasn't getting catches, that he was out of shape and old, and was 2 steps behind. And honestly, man, he came to play on the Super Bowl, and it's what you come to expect from what is he, a 3-time Super Bowl champion before this game? He has the experience. Him and Tom Brady have that relationship. He knew where he had to be, and Tom Brady, designed those plays specifically for Gronk, man. And if you look back at the replay, you see that was a design play. And Gronk executed perfectly, and it was awesome, man. I was glad that they were able to extend their touchdown record um, between Brady and Gronk, man. So it was good.
Yeah, Musab, talk to me about that special moment where Rob Gronkowski catches yet another Super Bowl touchdown.
It was something that I think I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. I guess the first thing being that I got a Rob Gronkowski jersey like 2 weeks before that, and
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
just looking at Gronkowski, was I surprised that he racked up 2 touchdowns? Well, 2 touchdowns, just a slight bit, but was I surprised he got at least 1 touchdown? No, I knew he was a great guy. Throughout the beginning of the season, I was thinking, I wonder how this guy's gonna be throughout the season. He was really good on both ends, the blocking and the catching. Um, and I had an idea, or that this was gonna happen, that Brady and Gronk are gonna make something happen. And when it did happen, especially the first touchdown by his, um, being that the score was 0-0 and we're going against, the Kansas City Chiefs who beat us the first time and they've just been a threat overall to the whole league. It was like, oh snap, and as soon as that happened, you see Gronk catch it, and the way he was running down and just the momentum as soon as that happened, it was amazing, and it made me think. When I saw that, I was like, oh snap, like the boys are back. The boys are back. Brady and Gronk, the duo, and of all times this had to happen. This would have been pretty nice to see, throughout the season, and all that. Of all those times where we really just needed a touchdown ASAP, and we're kind of trying to make a statement, it's Brady and Gronk, and it just I'm sure it just brought back a lot of memories for all those Pats fans who hopped on the Tampa Bay bandwagon this season. But overall, I'm sure it just brought back memories. I've seen Gronk and Brady on the Pats as well, so it brought back memories when I saw them in the Super Bowl in the past. But overall, I think it was just I think it just made the Chiefs think, well, oh snap, I don't think anyone was really expecting that. They were probably expecting Gronk to maybe do some blocking, and maybe a running back would be able to get some yards or something like that if I was the Chiefs. But the fact that that happened, it was just beautiful. That's all I'm really gonna leave it as. And I guess the overall vibe I just got from the whole playoffs and the whole season was just that our guys, we got so many different weapons, and I think that's what just made our team win the Super Bowl. Is we had guys who would step up, or we had guys who were ready to kind of have their highlight day, or their highlight game. So it's just really awesome to just see so many different guys contribute so much to our team to help us win that Super Bowl.
Yeah, and a guy that I'll bring up again and again is a guy that we might have been able to make a case for Super Bowl MVP, and that is Devin White. Shocker, we're going to bring him up again. Mikey, I know you had one more moment listed with your boy Devin White, and that is that interception, that big interception in the Super Bowl. Talk to me about that moment.
That's the moment I think we all knew that we were winning the Super Bowl. Even
Mm.
with the score what it was, Patrick Mahomes is on the other side of that field, and you never want to count your chickens before they hatch, man. I was excited. I had a feeling we were gonna win, but I didn't jump up and down in celebration until that pick. And he deserved it, man. And like you said, he very easily could have been Super Bowl MVP. He had 8 tackles, 4 assists, and of course, like he did the entire playoffs, the entire season. He brought that energy, man. He's the heartbeat of that defense. And that final pick in the end zone when Patrick Mahomes was trying to squeeze it into, I believe it was Kelsey, he tipped it up to himself, intercepted it in the end zone, smartly took a knee down, and ran to the jumbotron where everyone gets to celebrate and do their happy dance, man. So Devin White is the man. He is definitely the future of our defense. I'm really hoping that we can keep him and Levante side by side for a long time to come, but I'm sure we'll cover that in another episode. But man, that interception was the moment that I knew that we can celebrate, and there was no coming back from that one. So a beautiful interception, a nice tip to himself, nice knee down in the end zone. Devin White, MVP, runner up, we can say. So yeah, man, that was good.
Is that, Mikey, is that your top moment if you had to rank them? Was that the number one moment, or was there a different one during the year?
So number one moment in the
Yeah, like what was your best moment of the
man,
Bucks
it's
year
hard,
all
man.
year?
I mean, that was the icing on the cake. So I don't think that would be the best one because the game was already close to being over. That was just the final stamp. Um, that Lenny touchdown. I think it was against Green Bay. That was a good one. But if I had to pick one in particular, I think it would have to be
Yeah.
it'd have to be Scottie Miller, man, right before
Mm,
halftime. That bomb in the corner
yeah.
of the end zone, just unexpected. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone would have expected for us to score like that before half against the Green Bay Packers in such an important game with everything on the line. For them to let Scotty Miller, scoot, get past the defense and for Tom Brady to hit him like he did, I think that's my winner for the season right there.
Musa, man, if you had to pick one moment, what is your keystone moment for this year for the Bucks?
I got a few in mind, but you know, I wasn't gonna be happy, uh, or I wasn't gonna kind of, I guess I wasn't gonna really relax for the Chiefs game until Devin White got that interception. As soon as that happened, it was just a huge sigh of relief because, knowing Patty Mahomes and what he was doing throughout that game, I mean, he was really running away from us. He was giving us some good passes. Now, the fact that, his receivers weren't catching it is a different story, but I mean, he was throughout the whole game. He was a threat. No matter how his teammates played, but he was a threat throughout the whole game. And for that reason, I was still on the edge of my seat throughout the game. And knowing the Chiefs, I had a really bad feeling that they were gonna, they might be able to come back. But that was definitely the icing on the cake. When that happened, first of all, you see it kind of look tipped, and you're like, oh snap, hey, first of all, you're really happy. Okay, well at least they didn't get it. And then you just see it go straight into like Devin White's hands, and I mean that was the best moment I think of my life. There was like a few things from the season that I'm never gonna forget. Oh, and definitely with the playoffs, like Mikey said, the Scottie Miller, the playoff Lenny, that little spin move touchdown, the Whitehead hit, and then this was like the final boss. This was the best of them all. This was the one that kind of put a stamp. This was the interception that that told all those news press reporters, all right, well, time to put on the headlines. Bucks win the Super Bowl. That's when everyone knew, and everyone you either turned your TV off or you were jumping on your buddy or something because your team just won. So it was amazing.
Chris, I'll ask you here. Is there a moment that we haven't talked about for the Bucks that stands out to you, my friend?
Oof. Man, you covered some good ones there, man. It's tough. I mean, it's hard for me to say, man. Overall, I guess to me it was just winning the Super Bowl, man. I mean, it's well, what moment's better than that? I mean, it's
Right.
obviously you could pick out a couple moments here and there that got you to where you're at, and to where we were, and the team that we had. Great team we had, and this is probably one of the best teams we've ever had, honestly. Talent
Yeah.
wise, from top to bottom, defense to
Yeah.
offense. Our kicking game was finally on point, so I feel like
Mm.
all the stars aligned for the Bucks this year. We had all those kicking woes all those years. We finally got a good kicker. We finally got a quarterback. We finally got the defense to play together and play hard. And I think overall, just winning the Super Bowl in general, man, I think that was probably my best moment of the year.
Yeah, I have to say, for me, it was beating the Saints, and I'll put it to you because of all year it was up and down, up and down. Will they? Won't they? Can they? Sure. Will they? Who knows? Plus that little "it's a Bucks life" in the back of your mind. If what can go wrong will go wrong with the Buccaneers, and it was just beating the Saints. It was one of those things like, nah, not this year, not this year. They're legit. And then from that point, you haven't lost since November, and they're just putting it on teams now, and they're going toe to toe with the big boys, and they did it. And then to just keep doing it against the Packers, and then just unexpectedly have like just a blowout in the Super Bowl. Just that moment when they beat the Saints and they overcame that adversity, it was like, I think we're pretty special this year. So with all that said, Chris, I know you've been sitting there chomping at the bit to get in here. Let's take a break, and when we come back, I'm gonna get all of your top moments for the first championship that we won this year, and that is the Stanley Cup. We'll get into all of the action on the ice after the break. Welcome back into RBLR Sports. We talked about the Lombardi Trophy. Now let's talk about Lord Stanley's
Lord
Cup.
Stanley.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Chris, take me through your top 5 moments of this Lightning Stanley Cup run.
All right, so I'm gonna start. Like I said, I ordered it, but I'm gonna go. Like you said, I'm gonna go in order
Sure.
from when the games were. So
Sure.
we'll start with. I'm gonna go with points. 5 overtime winner against the Blue Jackets. I mean, that was that right there. I think that started the whole run towards the cup. That was definitely a huge momentum builder. You could you imagine where we would have been losing that game? Think about the opposite end of the spectrum. If we lose that game, how much momentum do we lose? And going 5 overtimes, how deflated would you have been? Uh, to lose that game, and it's only game one, and you just got swept by Columbus the year before. So I think that was huge in itself. I mean, it was 9:33 left on the clock in OT number 5. The Bolts had 87 shots at that point to Columbus's 63. 87 shots. Should I say it one more time? 87 shots. I mean, how often do you hear that? This game itself was just phenomenal. It was a deflected puck in the middle of the ice, and Pointer just buried it. The team went crazy. The bench went crazy. It was a huge momentum gain, and I think it was definitely needed because, like I said, the year before, losing to Columbus, getting swept. I think we had a little, probably some nerves going into that, but at the same time, like I said, I felt like we wanted that revenge, and I feel like that's the series the Bolts wanted. So I mean, to take that 5 overtime winner, that's huge, especially in game one. And Pointer was on point, man. I mean, no pun intended. The dude can play. He goes out there every day, and he's a young, great player, and it was a huge shot by him. And I think that right there started us off on a victory road.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, coming off of such a disappointing loss in the playoffs to that particular team, it just is one of these games where, like, you just can't. It's the first game of the playoffs, and you got swept by them last year. It's like you cannot lose this game, and that's kind of the pressure that gets it to be, I mean, how long was this? It was like 150 minutes and 27 seconds
Yeah, I
like
think
of
I
total
went till
ice
almost,
time.
yeah, midnight, I think, 12:30
It,
our time, something like that.
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy when you start looking at the numbers. You had me looking this up here. 151 shots between the two teams. 92 of those blocked.
Right. You're right.
92 blocked shots.
Right.
Like, how did they even come back for a game two, let alone the rest of
That's
the
why
series?
I think it was so huge to win that game itself, because you would feel so defeated to go out and lose to a team that just swept you the year before, and to lose to
Yeah,
them in five. I mean, five overtimes. I mean, that's got to be so frustrating for those guys being out there. Like, all right, something's got to give. Something's got to give.
yeah,
And when you look at the shots, 87 to 63. I mean, that's a huge gap. I mean, Columbus isn't really a high shooting team as is, but I mean, for them not to give up a goal, I mean, going into the fifth overtime, 87 shots. I mean, hats off to Columbus for that game. You know what I mean? I
uh,
mean, I mean, that was just tremendous.
yeah. I mean, uh, insanity. Now, winning in that series, they moved on to the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Boston Bruins. Take me through what was one of your big moments from that series.
I'm gonna have to go with Bogosian is diving past to Coleman, which led to a huge goal. Um, the game against Boston to tie the game at one in game two. It was a diving pass from Bogo to Coleman. Even Coleman dove on the shot. Especially for a defenseman to get down the way he did, and I mean, I would never expect that from Bogosian to be able to make the play he did, to be able to dive like that. And then, I mean, what a pass to Coleman, and then Coleman even dove and buried it, and you could see when that went in, man, Cooper was smiling on the bench. I mean, that's a lot of talent and skill to pull off that, especially from a defenseman like Bogo. The shot itself from Coleman was fantastic, and I feel like that was might not have been the best play in the series, but to me, I think that was just a key play to get the momentum swung our way. It just from two guys you wouldn't think would be able to pull off. Not to take anything away from Coleman or Bogo, but I mean, it was just you wouldn't expect a guy like Bogosian to be sitting there diving on the ice, making a diving pass to Coleman, who dives and scores. I mean, it's almost like a
Mm.
video game play. No, like you're playing with your buddy and you're like, hey man, pass me the puck, and you're diving all over the ice, swinging your stick everywhere, and it works. And it ended up going in the back of the net. And I think that play itself just had a lot of momentum behind it. Especially against Boston, who we usually struggle against come playoff time, and Boston likes to push us around. So just a big play from two guys that you wouldn't expect that from.
Yeah, and it's such a big game too, because that even the series, the Lightning had lost game one,
Right.
and you talk about just every game in the playoffs is so crazy. It's so weird to see a blowout, and so all those little extra passes, extra plays, diving, doing all those little things really add up. Um,
I think
so
that's what made me put that play up there so high, just like you said, because it's
yeah,
the little things. Like that was it was to tie the game at one, but it was game two, and I think it's just the momentum itself. Like the little things like that, it helps propel your team. It helps give your team that boost that's needed, especially against a team like Boston.
yeah. Well, and you got to think too, to pick that as your moment from that game where Palat had an overtime winner.
Right.
That speaks volumes to that particular moment there.
And like I said, it has to do with I wouldn't expect
Yeah,
that from Bogosian, especially. I mean, Coleman maybe once in a lifetime, but I mean, it was just the dive to dive, a dive pass to a dive shot, and it went in. And it was just it was a great highlight reel goal.
yeah. And after that series with Boston and kind of putting them away, because they are, if not the rival, they're one of the big rivals of the Lightning. Um, uh, Moving past them to an unexpected opponent in the New York Islanders. What was a big moment you had for the Bolts versus the Islanders?
Man, Cooch with an amazing shot. 7.8 seconds left in the third. Game two to take a lead and break the tie. it was just a crazy shot. It was an incredible cross ice pass from McDonough, and the Bolts ended up taking a 2-0 series lead. And I mean, just with 7.8 seconds left, I mean, what a clutch gene for Cooch to have to bury that. And that started the Cooper lawnmower celebration, where he was, looked like in the little meme where he was, getting ready to start a lawnmower, and you could tell Cooper was excited, with that goal. And I mean, 7.8 seconds left. That doesn't get more clutch than that, man, especially to take the lead against Islanders and win the game. And props to McDonough for a great pass to get it across I mean, it was all the way across the ice. I mean, it was through, I think, 2 defenders in front of the net and plus another Lightning guy out there, went right across. And Cooch was being Cooch, right place, right time. He knows where to go. His puck intelligence, is always there, and his net front presence can be there if needed. And, if Cooch is out in front of the net and the puck's on his stick, he's probably going to score almost 98% of the time, unless it's a really good save or a really bad shot from him. And, that doesn't happen too often. So that play alone, it's just, I mean, that's a huge shot. It took a 2-0 series lead, and just one of those plays to me that I will never forget, especially considering this led us to the Stanley Cup. It's going to be one of those plays that I won't forget myself.
Yeah, and a big performance from a superstar. Talking about all the injuries that the Lightning had to overcome. I mean, they during the game they only played with 9 forwards because of people getting hurt.
Right, and that's huge. That's to get that goal and get that momentum. Like I said, once again, get that momentum back when you're down guys. That's huge.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're down Stammer and you're down Braden Point in that game.
Right.
So craziness, man. But that all of that led to them getting to the Stanley Cup. So you have 2 more out of your top 5. What do you think are your top 2 moments of the Lightning season?
So this one personally to me could be number 1. Okay. I'm putting it at 2 because I think topping the Stanley Cup itself is hard to do alone. But to me personally, just being a huge fan of this team and being a fan of Stamkos, it's got to be his return to Game 3. He scored that huge goal off the bench, re-injured himself during the play, mind you not. And it was at that time it was 1-0 Bolts first period. Series was tied 1-1. That put us up 2-0. Bench went crazy. Made a movie on the ice. It was an incredible moment. I mean, he we're all wondering like, all right, when's Stamkos going to come back? You kept hearing the rumors. You kept seeing the tweets. You kept seeing everything online like, oh, Stammer's on the ice. Breaking news. Stamkos on the ice. And it's like, all right, is this going to be the game? Is this going to be the game? And then leading up into the game, you saw him out there on the ice, and you were all like, okay, is he going to play? And then next thing you know, boom, he's on the bench, and we're like, all right, well, he's not taking a shift yet. All right, he's not taking a shift yet. All right, Stamkos is on the ice. Stamkos has the puck, and he shoots and he scores, and you're like, it was like it had to have been a 3-second play. It was 3 to 4 second play. Boom on the ice, boom down the boards, buries it. Team goes crazy. To me, easily that could be number 1. Just like I said, because we've all seen what Stamkos has gone through. He's a great leader. Unfortunately, the injuries for him, it's not his fault. I know like people like to talk a lot of, say bad things and talk bad crap about him, but it's not his fault. He's not like he goes out there every day wanting to get hurt. Believe me, Stamkos wants to be on the ice. Stamkos is a leader. He wants to play. So I mean, that moment alone, man, it was great, man. It was great to see, great to watch. That made my heart race, and it almost brought a tear to my eye, man. It was an emotional moment on the ice,
Wow.
especially
Wow.
it was, man. The guys, hockey's a very passionate sport. You can tell when they score, they all go all hug each other, and they high five the bench. And to see Stamkos do that, man, I think that was the right time, right guy to do it, and couldn't have been a better moment.
So who plays Steven Stamkos in the movie that they're going to make about that moment?
Man, it's got to be Chris Hemsworth, Thor. He's got
okay.
that.
Okay.
He's got that look.
See, like Sean Penn, kind of like I know he's older, but like Sean Penn has that Stamkos jaw. You know what I'm saying? That,
yeah.
That nice V-line jaw.
I'm just thinking superhero right now, gonna go with Thor, man. Thor could pull it off,
All right. Now, huge game 3 with Stammer putting it in the net. But there's got to be one moment. There's only one big moment of the whole year. Tell me what was your biggest moment of the Lightning year?
Lightning win the Stanley Cup, man. Lightning win the Stanley Cup, and the crazy season it was. Like I said, this could have been Stamkos could be number 1 on this list just because of the situation and everything. But it's hard to top going through the whole season and actually getting to where they were and to go through what they had to go through to get there. The battles, the teams we played. We played a lot of physical teams. We took a lot of hits, a lot of abuse, a lot of injuries, and we fought through all that. And we won it in Game 6. Point had a goal. Coleman had a goal. And Vasi had 22 saves and a shutout, man. We couldn't have closed the door any better than that. You couldn't ask for much more from Vasi just in general. I mean, what else do you say about the guy? He goes out there and plays night in, night out, doesn't like to take a night off. He'd probably play every game realistically if he could. I'm sure Cooper tells him he needs to take a break sometimes, but, enough said about him. He's a phenomenal player. I hope he stays a Bolt for life. It was just incredible season, and like I said, I wish it could have been in front of fans, man. I think that was the most disappointing part about it, definitely. But I mean, like I said, just the mentality of sitting in a hotel room all that time and not letting it get to you and going out there and, not being in your home ice and, going to Canada and having to play, no traveling. You're just sitting there waiting to see who you're going to play. And then they eventually traveled over to Edmonton to go play in the Stanley Cup. And it was just, just a wild season. And, it all came together at the right time. A really good team finally paid off. And it was just a great moment to see him raise the cup. And, looking forward to seeing what we do the rest of the season this year,
Yeah, I'll throw it around to the boys here. Mikey, any big moment for the Stanley Cup that you could think of that we haven't talked about?
Man, I think Chris did a great job covering all the awesome Stanley Cup Lightning moments. Best part for me is, raising that trophy, being a champion.
Attaboy.
Tampa Bay, baby.
Hey, man, nothing better than that. Musab, anything on the Lightning?
Oh, I mean, yeah, Chris really said it all, and I agree with a lot of what he has to say. I guess my favorite part was just seeing how the team, as important as Stamkos is, and as as phenomenal as he is, just seeing how kind of like the other guys, like people like Sorelli and Point and a few of the other guys, kind of stepping up and making sure the team does as best they can. That was just something I don't know if it was my favorite part, but it was just something I just really enjoyed watching, and I just really appreciated it. And for that reason, I think that's exactly why they deserve to win that Stanley Cup.
I think a moment that we didn't talk about, and I'm very sad, is that our boys winning the cup set the precedent for how you have a celebration during the pandemic that we've been living in.
Oh yeah, sure.
Our boy Alex Killorn. Okay, I know people are talking about the goat, being drunk on avocado tequila and making a nice stumbling trek down the way. How about Alex Killorn with a damn NHL WWE belt on around his waist? He's wearing the Rays because he's repping the Rays as they're making their way to the World Series, and he's holding the Stanley Cup with goggles on his face as he's standing on a damn Ski-Doo jet ski.
I mean, you're right, yeah.
Dude, when this happened, I texted this to Musab and I said, if RBLR was a person, and just sent him the picture. And it was like, this is everything that I live for. This is phenomenal. This is great. And really, setting the trend in fashion, of course, and setting the trend for how you celebrate Tampa winning a championship here. So
they were ready for that, man, especially coming back from being trapped in Canada for 3 months. They were ready for that, man. It was a great show, and they're all out there drinking beer and getting on the doing the interviews, and they're on the mic and they're all stumbling their words and just just having a good time, man. You're right, yeah. That was a really good moment, man. It was. It was. We
Well,
could
and
throw some
especially
good boat parades.
yeah, I mean, especially in I mean, we want to take a step away, and what is nice is that sports allow us that little bit of an escape from the harsh reality that we're living in, but they bring it in, and all the fans, I think, getting a chance to finally be close to their team. I mean, we are a hockey town, as unexpected as that might be for people that aren't from here, to learn. It's like, we're a hockey town, man, and we love our Lightning, and they came home with the biggest prize in hockey, man. And some might even say, the hardest trophy to win in sports. But moving on a little bit, I do want to talk about, as we record here on a Wednesday night, the Bolts did play tonight, and they were victorious. Chris, before we end talking about the Lightning tonight, kind of give us a rundown of where the Bolts are standing right now.
Well, tonight, Bassi, he pitched his first shutout of the season. He had 25 saves, a couple really good saves. Carolina didn't really have many shots to the first and the second. They kind of started getting some towards the end, but I mean, Bassi played really, really well tonight. The team overall looked really well the past 2 games. Ross Colton made his debut tonight. He had his first career goal too. It was a great shot, great pass from Hedman to him, and props to him for his first NHL game and first goal. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. Got the puck after the game. Took a nice picture, smiled, looked like he was 16 years old, and he's enjoying life right now, I'm sure. It's kind of like almost like a mini playoff series right now because of the delays with the Stars. We got some Hurricane games moved up, so we've playing the Hurricanes 4 straight games. So they took the first one from us 4-0, and then we bounced back and we've won 2 straight, looking a little more like the Lightning should. Getting that consistency back and getting the games back under our belts, and just getting back to Lightning hockey. And I hope there's really no more delays. That'll put us at 12-4-1 right now. That's a 2-game win streak. So technically we're tied for second right now. So still hanging around. Like I said, I'm hoping that the schedule stays, and we got I'm hoping we finally play Dallas on Saturday night for the first time since the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it's a big game.
I'm waiting on that, man. Been waiting all season for that. I'm hoping it actually finally happens. The game is here, so I don't see why it wouldn't. And then we go play them Tuesday. So we got 2 games coming up against Dallas, which that'll be good to see. And I hope we finally get to play them and get that rivalry going.
Yeah, speaking of rivalries, I know you had mentioned we've played Carolina, 4 times already this year?
Right. Yeah. We're going through a 4-game series right now, so we got them tomorrow night.
It's kind of like, we had talked earlier about these little mini series, but now this is a full blown playoff series that's going through here. How many more times do we play Carolina this year? Is it like, are they halfway through already, or?
So technically we play them tomorrow night,
okay,
and then we have 27th of March, and then we play them the 19th and the 20th of April.
Okay.
And that'll be it for Carolina. So we'll be done with them, end of April-ish.
Because I'm just wondering, being that, you're only playing your division teams, getting kind of them out of the way this early and not having to spread them out so much if this ends up being a playoff matchup, if they're still being able to kind of look at what's going on right now, or do you think these are more just kind of you're just kind of getting through the schedule as you can, whenever you can? And then,
I think it's just trying to get through the schedule at this point, honestly, just because the way the schedule's been. I think the most important thing right now with it being a shortened season, like I said, is I think every team is focused on just getting points right now, points, staying in the top 4. We're going to get into the playoffs. Sure. I mean, I'm not even worried about it. Even if we get the 4, I don't care, because we know the talent's there. We know Cooch is supposed to come back come playoff time, hopefully, God forbid anything else happens. But, I think it's definitely interesting to see this happening. But it's showing as far as like, it does kind of feel like it does kind of feel like the playoffs right now, just because the way the mini series are happening.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, I think they're just kind of taking it, game by game, and just just like I said, just trying to win games and get the points you can right now, which is obviously the most important thing.
Yeah. Did you happen a chance to take a look at the outdoor series they were trying to do over the last week?
I watched a little bit of the first one. I know it
Yeah.
got postponed due to the stadium. It looked awesome. The
Oh
pictures
yeah.
were great. Like
Oh yeah.
people were out in their boats in the lake, waving and having a good time. And then you could see, man, like the second before puck drop, I think they were trying to clear off the ice for a good 5 minutes. And
Uh-huh.
the heat got to it, and the game got moved to, what did they say, midnight or something like that? I
Yeah,
don't
they
know,
played at
whatever
midnight.
it
Yeah,
was.
they resumed the
Yeah,
second period.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was something new. They tried it. I guess we'll never have outdoor hockey here in Tampa. I don't think that'll ever happen as much as I'd like for it to. I think that was
Yeah.
I think they tried it out right there, and I don't think that'll happen ever
Mm.
again. I think that was they tried. It was worth a shot. It was a cool view. Something different, looked cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got to check it out a little bit, watch a little bit of it.
Yeah, it was those retro jerseys looking pretty cool on the Avalanche, and
Agreed.
yeah, but I don't think springtime outdoor hockey is going to happen anytime
No,
soon.
no, definitely not. Definitely not.
But all right, well, Chris, thanks for taking us through what's going on in the past with our Stanley Cup champion Bolts and what's going on here. I am very much looking forward to, now that we're kind of turning the page on this huge Buccaneers time that we've had, and it's kind of taken up a lot of our time here, kind of getting more into the nitty gritty about the Lightning.
Absolutely.
So yeah, a lot more coming from you. So get your pen and paper ready, buddy, because we're gonna be asking you a lot of questions. So
Got plenty of it, my friend. Don't worry.
nice man. We've got one more team that we're gonna talk about here, and that is the Tampa Bay Rays. As they weren't able to win the World Series, but just getting there led us with a lot of memorable moments. So we'll take a break, and then I'll run through my top 5 moments of the Tampa Bay Rays on their way to the World Series. Welcome back into RBLR Sports. Our final segment of the evening, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. And so, talking about the moments of the Rays, honorable mention, if I had a 6th out of my top 5, it would be the crazy Randy Rosarina playoff run, the likes of which we have never seen. And I mean, I know that it was an expanded playoff format, and so if you take a look at his records that he set with, most home runs in a postseason, you kind of have to say, yeah, he had more games to do it in, but when you really look at the numbers about plate appearances and things like that, he wasn't that much of an advantage given to him. So, but Randy Rosarina coming out of nowhere and is kind of blowing up in the playoffs and becoming this rookie superstar that we hope continues for the next season. That would be my honorable mention. But starting the list would be the Rays winning the AL East for the 3rd time ever in their history. The big moment of them clinching their first division title in over a decade. For one of the most frugal teams in baseball to be consistently good, and in this season they got over that hump and made it all the way to the World Series. But when you take a look at in 2018, they won 90 games and didn't make the playoffs. In 2019, they won 96 games and barely earned a wild card spot. And so this particular run, you have to say that if you were to extend the season out to normal length, they were on pace to win 106 games this year. They were 4th in runs scored and 5th in runs allowed, and I can't say enough about surviving multiple injuries to that pitching rotation. So that would be my 5th big moment, and that's just like that crowning achievement at the end of the year where they're the number 1 team in baseball. They get the number 1 seed in the playoffs, and it was just a nice achievement for a team that kind of has taken advantage of taking all these pieces and parts and building this team through the draft and signing these free agents and making trades for guys that are kind of given up by other teams, but we figure out a way to put together a consistently good team year in and year out. So, but if we're talking about individuals, my fourth big moment is when Mike Brasau gets revenge on the Yankees, and specifically Aroldis Chapman with that walk-off homer. I mean, the Yankees they're that giant that lives up the billion-dollar beanstalk, right? They're these guys that they have all the rings, they have all the trophies, they've got those legendary pinstripes, and what's crazy is they even call Tampa their spring home, okay? Meanwhile, the hometown Rays, they have to claw. They have to scratch. They have to earn every piece of that pie with what I was talking about earlier, with these diamonds in the rough. One such raw diamond is 2016 undrafted free agent Mike Brasau, who on September 1st, all he did was have a 101-mile-an-hour fastball thrown at his dome. And who was throwing that pitch for the Yankees was Aroldis Chapman. Now, what did the Rays do about it? Well, in September, the benches cleared, and Kevin Cash famously on that day after being ejected said that he has a whole damn stable of 98ers. And that particular game, I think, never lost meaning for the Rays. And in this playoff, Game 5, they come into this decisive game tied at 2 games, but just having lost Game 4. This particular moment, though, was a 10-pitch at-bat in the bottom of the 8th inning with a tie score, tied at 1. And if you look at these 10 pitches, first it's a called strike 1, but then Mike swings and misses on strike 2, only to get back into the count with 2 straight balls to even the count, and then fouls off 2 pitches in a row, takes pitch 7 for a full count, fouls off 2 more pitches. So now we're just at the point where this is just getting epically ridiculous. It's a huge moment where you're you're 1 out away, you're 1 strike away, and now all you do is hit a go-ahead homer off the guy that threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at your dome to deliver that 2-1 lead, and that ends the season for the Pinstripes. So for all that millions of dollars that they have over us, for all of the crap that they're talking, all of the mind games that they were trying to play, it was an undrafted free agent, killing it with against the guy that was throwing at him just a month or 2 earlier. So that is my number 4 moment, is Mike Brasau getting revenge on the Yankees and sending them home. See ya, leave the bubble, go home. Hope you enjoy your Manhattan apartments, guys. Moment number 3 for me was another unlikely hero, and that was Manuel Margot in Game 2 of the AL Championship Series. Margot might have come out of nowhere to step up for the Rays in the American League Championship Series, but that's just how this team operated in the playoffs. Everyone stepped up for these magical moments, and for him, Game 2 was his magic moment. Margot had a decent Game 1, and so Kevin Cash moved him up in the lineup a couple spots. And so coming into this game, he only had 1 home run in 159 at-bats coming into this postseason. But in the bottom of the first, with 2 out and 2 runners on, Manny Margot hits a 406-foot blast to center field off of Lance McCullers. But that's not all he did. As huge as that is, it was just the very next inning. He didn't just show that he had it at the plate. He showed that he had it with the glove on defense. So George Springer comes to the plate with 2 runners in scoring position and hits a high fly ball right down the right foul field line. Manny Margot traverses. It had to have been over 100 feet to get to that wall that's in right field, right at where the foul line meets the wall, and this wall's about 6 foot tall, and Margot's 5'11". He's just about the same height. So after running about 100 feet to get to this position, this ball looked like it was just going to go into the stands and be a foul ball. Not for Manny Margot, though. Margot leaps into the air, crashes into the wall at about hip height, or about ribs. Like, he had to have hurt his ribs on this play. He crashes he's going vertical, and hits the wall, reaching out, makes the catch, but then goes somersaulting over the top of the 6-foot wall into a scary 5-foot drop where he just free falls. And it was one of these plays that it's just that extra step, that extra mile, that extra effort that he gave on that play, that it goes from a foul ball to ending the inning. And that's and plus it's just that these little things that give you that little momentum that, Margot comes up and gives them the lead, and then shows that little bit of defensive prowess, where that game 2 from Manny Margot was one of the moments that I think really set the tone and showed that it's every man up for this Rays team in this postseason. My number 2 is the amazing defensive output by the Rays in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. And it's one of those games where the Rays are up 2-0 in the series at this point when they're leading into Game 3. And it's a big game because if you keep in mind, the Rays actually lost the next 3 games after this win. And the Rays won it 5-2, but the only 2 runs that the Astros had were home runs. And that's because the Rays, time and time again in this particular game, just absolutely robbed the Astros. I mean, Kevin Kiermaier showed why he is the best center fielder in baseball. Or at least at the time, I mean, he's the hottest thing going in center field, man. He had, in the very first inning, a leaping catch at the wall, robbing a gigantic home run by Alex Bregman. And so he as soon as it's hit, he kind of takes a second, and he's running. He goes back to the warning track, jumps up, leaping, and catches the ball. Which it might have hit the top of the wall and only went for a double, but it also was traveling at a home run pace to me. So KK just in the very first inning shows off the glove, shows off the speed. Well, in the third inning, with 2 on and 2 out, Carlos Correa hits a screamer to center right, and KK makes a horizontal stretching dive to haul it in. So now you've got this dude, he's robbed you of a home run. Now he absolutely burglarizes another extra base hit with 2 on base. It would have at least, if KK doesn't come up with that catch, you have 2 runs on the board immediately. Then Willy Adames shows up at short, man. In the 5th inning, Willy Adames tracks down a hard-hit ball from Jose Altuve, and he's making this as he's transitioning to pick the ball up and get it over into his right hand, he's damn near third base. And then he rips the throw across his body to Yandy Diaz, who snags it out of the dirt to end the inning. So you've got guys all over the place. It isn't just Kevin Kiermaier. It isn't just Willy Adames. It's also people like John Curtis, who in the 7th inning dives off the mound to snag a ball that's kind of chopping from Yuri Gurriel and somehow beats Gurriel to first with the throw. And normally you would want that ball to go to your shortstop, but when you take a look at how close Gurriel was, even with the pitcher, John Curtis, getting to the ball quickly and throwing it over, there was no way that anyone else would have beat that play. And you would think that would be enough for this moment. But no. Also in that same inning, George Springer has a runner on first, and he thinks he's going to move that runner with this little blooper to right field. But, oh wait, Hunter Renfroe decides to dive and make another SportsCenter top 10 catch, which makes Springer so frustrated that he grabs his helmet and he spikes it into the ground in frustration. Now, this game has been so close that now we get to the 8th inning, and these defensive just output, it's amazing. I mean, Twitter is just blowing up with, oh my God, look at this defensive play. Oh my God, look at this defensive play. Oh my God, look at this defensive play. Well, here in the 8th inning, the Astros have the bases loaded in a 3-run ball game, and Kyle Tucker at the plate hits another fly ball to Hunter Renfroe, who makes a freaking, how do I describe it? It's a sliding basket catch. He's sliding on the ground like he's going into second base, and he's got his glove, upside down, and he makes this diving, sliding basket catch to Rob. I mean, how crazy do you have to be to make that kind of a play with the bases loaded and you're really only up 3 runs? But he did it. And so the bullpen comes in after that huge catch, and there had been, the Astros had their moments, but it was all of these just absolute burglary that was happening by the Rays that in and of itself is enough to justify it being one memory, because the whole game just defensive stop after defensive stop after defensive stop. It was phenomenal. And before we get to my top moment for the Rays, I kind of want to throw it around to the boys here. Mikey, what would you say is your top moment for this playoff run?
Man, there were so many, man. I can't really put my finger on one. I just gotta say that I am proud of my Tampa Bay sports teams. And Bucks, Lightning, Rays, we kick ass, man. And if you don't live in Tampa, if you're not a Tampa fan, you need to get with the freaking program. And you got to be a Bucks fan, you got to be a Lightning fan, you got to be a damn Rays fan, because this is Tampa Bay, baby.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say, yeah, Mikey, man. If you're hearing from the outside about these guys, you might not be tuned in to every single play or every single thing, but what was kind of the buzz that you were hearing to kind of pique up your interest in the Rays?
There were grinders, man. That that we play smart ball, good ball. We got a good pitcher. One thing that I do know from the little bit that I watched was that we pulled that pitcher out of the World Series a little bit too early, in my opinion. I know there's some analytics to it and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I know we got some talented guys, good coaching staff, and Tampa Bay, baby.
Yeah, Chris, I know you've got some thoughts on that Blake Snell maneuver there. I mean, give it to. Is that your big moment of the season? I know it's a bad one, but is that kind of your?
Yeah, I mean, probably my best good moment would obviously be, I think, winning the East. I think that's a huge accomplishment itself. I mean, for the team we have, the payroll we have, the division we're in, to win the East, I mean, alone is a milestone for us. Especially because we've seen the Rays. We know, we've watched the Rays, the teams we have. The struggles we get from the bats sometimes. Sometimes our pitching's phenomenal and our bats are just not there, and that can be our downfall at points. So I think the positive for sure would definitely be taking the East. I think that's a big accomplishment itself. Obviously getting to the World Series is a huge accomplishment. But yeah, I mean, obviously taking Snell out, I just will never agree with that, man. I know it's the right call for Cash that he
Sure.
backed it up, and I just man, I really 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 would like to see what would have happened had Snell stayed in. And you made the point last week about how, well, what if we didn't bring in Anderson? What if
Yeah.
we brought somebody
Yeah.
else in? And you're right about that. That is the
Yeah.
what ifs of, who knows what would happen.
Yep.
But unfortunately, you pull them in, the one thing happens
Right.
that we don't want to happen. And I kind of felt it coming, once I saw him get pulled, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be it. We're going to give up a run, and boom, next thing you know. And that was it from there, man. But that's
Yeah.
tough call for Cash. He did what he thought was right, and he rolled with it. And like I said, he took it like a man, and he answered all the questions in the interviews, and he didn't hide and run from it. So respect to Cash for that, man. Respect to Cash in general. I think he's a good coach. He does the best he can with the payroll he has. So overall, good season for the Rays. You can't be disappointed making it to the World
I
Series.
couldn't have said it any better myself, Chris. That's exactly what I wanted to communicate right there.
You did not.
Some new light shined on that moment, and that's Blake Snell. If you guys get a chance to go to the Players Tribune and read the article that Snell wrote for the Players Tribune, kind of talking about that particular moment. And so the new information that was brought to me was Blake Snell said, he's walking out of the dugout before that inning, and he's on fire. He's dealing, and I think no one would ever deny that. And he looks into the bullpen, and he sees Anderson warming up, and immediately he's thinking about, okay, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't screw up. You're the next guy that gets a hit, they're gonna pull me. And it was refreshing, I think, to hear an athlete actually say that in the moment, just looking into the bullpen, he lost confidence. And he even says, like, I wish it wasn't the case. I wish that I could tell you that I'm the strongest minded athlete in the world, but that little moment kind of chipped away at him on a personal level, and in that moment, it knocked him off his game. And so it's kind of one of those things that does. I know Cash kind of created the moment himself, but does he sense that in his pitcher? He, even though he created the problem, he also now has a problem that he has to fix. And so, Blake Snell, of course, was a total professional in this. It wasn't a hit piece. It actually came off more about him and himself and his own mental ability and things like that than it was a judgment call and things like that. But he's looking forward to his new team and his new start in San Diego, and I'm sure they've got a pretty cool team building over there for the Padres. But it was nice, and I would tell everyone to give it a shot and go back. And unfortunately, it's a painful memory to relive, but it's a different take in that moment from the athlete's perspective, and it's something that kind of shed a different shade of gray into that kind of unblack and white surface. So, Musab, what was your big takeaway for this Rays playoff run?
Yeah, my big overall takeaway was, I mean, there was a lot of good moments, and Chris mentioned a lot of them. But what I would say is, at least for me, it was just the fact that I wasn't like too involved with the Rays, but kind of having a little bit of idea of our star players. I'm like, all right, well, hopefully these guys are gonna go off. And then here comes Mr. Randy Rosarina, which I didn't really know about at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here he comes, and I mean, he's playing like no one's ever played, and he just went off, and game by game, watching him perform just made me a lot more hype as well. So I would say that's my choice right there.
Yeah, and Randy Rosarina is the latest in that kind of. I don't want to say he's particularly a retread, but it's a guy that the Cardinals decided we don't need anymore. And so he was one of their top prospects at some point, and they decided to move him alongside. He was the throw-in in the Carlos Martinez trade. So you got a guy that, that's what I'm saying. He's the other piece of the pie. He's the bag of basketballs. He's the player to be named later. He's that kind of thing. Now we're hoping that speaking of Blake Snell, that maybe we've got some more of those coming our way in the form of Luis Patino, who's a highly touted pitching prospect. But you also got a guy, Francisco Mejia, that's a catcher that is going to see some playing time this year. And so as the Rays, always looking to upgrade, always looking to move those pieces, always trying to find the new way to make something out of a limited payroll. So, yeah, guys, thanks for joining me along that little memory road for baseball. It got me hyped, guys. I gotta be honest with you. Looking at these videos of the Lightning, of the Bucks, of the Rays, seeing all those in video form, it just got me hyped, and it got me excited for what we've gone through, but also what's to come. For our listeners here, we are focused on bringing you the best coverage and analysis of what's around the corner, what's going on right now and in the future. So I'm excited to talk the draft. I'm NFL draft. I'm excited to talk free agency, and I think next week we should have our first franchise tag. Is Godwin going to get the franchise tag? Those
decisions.
Man, there's a lot going on. So, and baseball, spring training is in full swing. Pitchers, catchers, everybody have reported to spring training. So it's not too much longer before it's a whole new, just crazy world out there when it comes to sports. So I thank you for joining us along by listening, taking time out of your day to listen to us talk about your Tampa Bay sports teams. If there's one thing that I always ask from you guys, if this is your first time listening to us, whatever you're hearing us on, if you're on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and if you have the ability to give us a review, give us that 5-star review. If we've earned it, if we've taken your drive, your lunch break to that next level, give us a 5-star review. Let us know how we're doing. If you are on social media, we are at RBLR Sports on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. If you look up RBLR Sports, we give you video content. We give you these podcasts in video form. We give you some extras coming down the pipeline. And I guess the last thing I'll beg for is if you want to leave us a voicemail, try to keep it under a minute. We take your voicemails into consideration on what we talk about on this show. So if you leave us a voicemail, we are at 813-778-5280. That's 813-778-5280. Give us a shout out, man, and let us know if you've got a question, if you've got a comment, give it to us, man. We are open and willing to hear your feedback and hear your questions and comments, man. You are part of this show. For everyone else that's part of this show, guys, Chris, any final thoughts for us before we get out of here this week?
Just want to give a shout out to the followers. I know we're
Yeah.
getting a little more here and there,
Yeah.
so I appreciate everyone listening. We're working together to get this show going, and just ready to talk some more Lightning hockey. Hopefully the season continues to go well. Hopefully no more delays. Hopefully the season can continue on, and we'll roll into baseball. And then next thing you know, boom, football will be right back and in
Absolutely,
full
man.
swing.
Mikey, any last thoughts for us?
Yeah, man, it has been a very fun year for Tampa sports. Today was awesome being able to look back on some Buccaneer highlights, some Lightning highlights, some Rays highlights, and just reminisce on the year that we had, man. So super happy, super excited about what the future is gonna hold for the Bucks. I'm looking forward to putting my GM hat on and
Boom.
cutting some players and trading some guys and keeping
Yeah.
some guys. So everyone who's listening, stay tuned. It's going to be a fun next couple months prepping for the new season coming up. And thanks for listening. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. Musab, man, take us home, brother. What
Yeah,
you
as
got?
always, we appreciate our listeners, and to the new ones, we appreciate you for giving us a chance. I just want to say, I guess, with the Bucks, season being over because they won the Super Bowl, and then, the Rays haven't started yet, and then our Lightning have started. As Mikey said, it's really been one hell of a year for Tampa Bay sports, and I'm really looking forward to just spending the rest of this 2021, week by week, to share with you all what's going on with our sports, and hopefully, by the end of this year, around December, I'm gonna say it right now. I think all of our teams again are gonna have an awesome year, and I'm gonna look back at today's podcast, when it comes December, and I'm excited to share with you all that all of our teams, the Rays, Bucks, Lightning, and even the Rowdies, they all started
Yes,
their
sir.
new
Let's go.
2021 season real strong, and I'm sure you'll be just as excited as I am when that time comes.
Absolutely, man. I cannot be more excited about our future here as RBLR and the future of all of our favorite sports teams. So, for all of us, we say thank you. And now it's time to turn that page, baby.
Let's
Get
go.
that GM hat on, Mikey.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's dig into that film, and let's find us the next round as we build toward the next championship. So, guys, thank you. We will see you all next week. Have a great night.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.